All of them are going on the truck and remembering putting Nick to rest and killing undead Mel's brother. Victor covers his face. Victor says, Elle, to ask whatever she wants to. She asks, how did you reach here? Victor says, it's a difficult question. Lucy says, there was a day when we couldn't have stopped all this from happening. Elle says, start from there. She asks, how many days haven't you seen them for? She says, nearly 2 weeks. We had started eating animals' food. Nick asks Lucy, if you're okay? Victor wants to put out ketchup. Alicia says, save it for real pancakes. One of them says, why not we eat animals before their food? Madison says, we'll go to new places to look for supplies. Victor says, it was our first mistake to get outside. Victor and another man are together looking for seeds in a nursery. She asks, were you scared of him? He says, no, not really. As they try to move a stretcher, undeads get to them. They kill them, but one of them starts getting dominated by the other man. Victor saves him. Nick stops the vehicle library. Lucy says, since Nick said that, that's why I went inside. Nick takes a poster off the wall and keeps it. They look for just anything to be found. Lucy says, I was delusional about Colonia and you saved me. We can save them like you saved me. John tells them that he used to be a police officer, and there was a man with them who used to drink a whole bottle at every dinner. One night, he barely survived when a criminal tried to pull a garbage truck over his car. He skipped drinking just for a week and got started again. He says, I think we'll get set in our ways again after we bury him. Morgan says, after we bury him, I'll go on my way. Elle asks if we should stop, as it might be too much. Alicia and Naomi reach a place, set their weapons in belts. Naomi sees a vehicle and claims it to be perfect to be taken, but it doesn't have keys. They proceed. It's a water park. There are undeads killed long ago. They kill undeads. They notice people went up to the highest spot and blocked the stairs with chairs. To reach there, they have to go through dirty chlorine water. Victor and another man have got some crops. The other man says, if you don't like me? Victor says, I have done a lot of bad deeds, and I keep this pebble to remember them. Alicia says, she and Naomi came closer because of being outside together. Undeads proceed towards them. They kill a few and get onto the slide way, which leads to the highest spot. It's slippery, but they make it. There's a machine gun there with ammunition left. An undead tries to attack Naomi and falls over her. She falls right down through the slide under stuck undeads. Alicia slides down as well and kills a closer undead. They look for something of use, and Alicia finds medical stuff. Both fill their bags with as much as they can keep. Alicia sees with binoculars if there's another place for supplies there. Victor and another man get to a vehicle's small yard. He shows him provisions he gathered for a long time. He says, it's enough for both of us. He's talking about leaving others in the stadium. The other man says, I can't do it. He leaves. Alicia says that Victor wasn't the only one who thought about going. It was Naomi as well. She fails to run as that vehicle is out of fuel. Alicia says it is the second time. She tells her to let's fill the vehicle's tank. Nick and Lucy find books covered in blood and an undead tied with a rope. Nick puts him to rest. He has a suicide scar. Lucy finds a book. Nick says, we'll find a new place. Lucy says, we can grow crops again. She shows him a book of the southwestern U.S. Elle asks, what opened on the first page? Lucy says, I shouldn't have opened that book. Madison keeps an eye on vultures. Mel signs her to get on the radio. She asks if he needs any help. He asks for relish. The door opens. Madison gets out and gets to him. He's cooking something. He tells her that before finding their bus, he and his brother Ennis lived on a ranch in the mountains. There were wildfires 30 kilometers away. He asks her to have what he has cooked. She doesn't want it. He asks, what are you here for? She says that their offer is open while Mel says the same about his offer. While she's leaving, he completes that story that they stopped on the ranch until it came there and took everyone except him and Ennis. He still remembers their screams. Lucy and Nick check the book. Victor is in confusion about his decision. Naomi tells her that she was an ICU nurse and tells her that the stadium will not last longer. Another man reaches the stadium. As Madison asks about Victor, he gets here through another door. He tells Elle that I realized what I will lose, so I went back and never told them that they were mine. Elle asks them, where did that book take you to? Nick and Lucy show that book map to Madison, and she agreeably leaves. Lucy has tears. Elle asks, you told them about Naomi? She says no. I did let Naomi speak her statement from her. She stayed and said an infirmary. Elle says, what did change that day? We should have made Mom understand to leave. I should have secretly come. We should have flipped to another page and found another place to go. But we wanted to stay. That's why Nick died. That's why my friend died. Elle turns off the camera. They reach a specific place, stop, and get out of the truck. Victor says this is the place to bury Nick. Morgan asks, why this place? They have got a lot of ammunition here. They say it's what Nick wanted. They're gonna go behind vultures. Elle says, you are not gonna make it without me. Victor has a note he got from El Camino, and they know where they'll meet. Victor says, if you want to know how it ends, then come and see yourself. She says, load up. Morgan says that he likes growing flowers. They bury him. Morgan places a blue flower on his grave, and all of them start loading up. John sees Naomi's bag and says, it is Laura's bag. He asks, where is she? She didn't make it out of the stadium. He doesn't believe it. He says, it's not true. She can't die. Alicia says they killed her. He asks Morgan and all of them to let him be alone. Elle says, I'll find out what happened and will come to you. Morgan stays with John while others leave. Morgan says, I'm sorry, John. He replies, you were right. We all are alone since always. John is cleaning his gun. There's an undead in the stream in front of his house. He gets to it and kills it. He's just lying down alone with music turned on. He turns it off and gets up. Brushes teeth, plays a words game, and makes egg and tea for breakfast. He includes toffee as sugar in his tea. Gets outside, sits, takes a sip, and enjoys. Fills his water tank, plucks a grape, collects vegetables. At night, he plays a words game, watches a movie, gets up, gets to the stream. There's another undead. No, it's not an undead. It's a woman. He carries her and brings her to a bed. He checks her for any wounds. It's on her waist. It hurts. He bandages it, puts a blanket on her as she has fallen asleep, and leaves a toffee on the lamp on the table. In the morning when he gets home, she is not there. She is looking for keys. John tells her where they are. She sits inside. He tells her that reverse will not work since the transmission is jammed and it needs a new battery, which I'm still working on. He tells her that she needs rest and her bandage needs to be changed. He has a patching needle and gives it to her. She asks him to do it and guides him on how to do it. He is a little shy and does it. He makes fish soup for her, presents it to her, and tells her it fills the stomach. He tells her that he lives alone and tells her his name. He says, you look like Laura, so can I call you that? He used to work at Humbug Gulch where he used to teach shooting. He says he just used to do it for fun. Laura says when she gets fine, she'll go, as he says that as long as you want, you can stay. He makes a bed for her and asks, what are you, a doctor, a nurse? I don't sleep, just an hour or two, can't sleep. Didn't sleep for a longer time. She pushes the curtain and tries to fall asleep but can't, so gets up and checks on John. He's cleaning his revolver. It gets morning and he's still up. Gets outside and kills another undead. There's another in the water, kills it as well, and brings it to the ground. He tells Laura that there seems to be a problem there. It's Tuesday and he's gonna go to bring groceries and stuff. Laura insists on going with him. He offers her long boots, but she says hers are fine. They go on a rowing boat. She asks about what he used to do before all this. He tells her he was a police officer. She asks, you used to like it, being a police officer? He says, yeah, in the beginning. There's a vehicle in the water and undeads are falling from the bridge because of a broken fence. They get on the side, get on the ground, and get to a store. He tells her it's Bill's store, and he didn't see her even before it all started. She takes a bag and a cloth. He takes stuff to fix the fence. She takes surgical stuff and bandages. She asks if he likes movies. As he writes his name on the store's visitors list, she asks about his last name, Dory, similar to that of a fish, and he likes fishing. They need a ladder. Laura helps him. She says she's not going to stay for longer. There's an undead. She gets to kill it. At night, she can't sleep and removes the curtain. He's watching a movie. She just wants water. He lowers the volume. He asks her if they can mix her blackjacks, which she took from Bill's store. She says, okay. He falls asleep. She is looking at him. He opens his eyes. She says, I lost my child, and gets to bed. Laura wants John to teach her fishing. They stand in the water. He guides her. She catches one. He teaches her how to clean it from inside. Cook it for dinner. Play words game together. Go fishing. She cleans it on her own now while he fills the tank. He cuts her patches since it's fine now, and there's just a scar. She says, I think I'm ready. She puts a bandage over it. He gets outside and kills an undead. She says they can use one of Bill's vehicles to fix this problem. She starts it by wires. He sees she has a gun and takes it out and gets out. Both of them kill the entire group of undeads together and bring the Jeep just to the broken fence. An undead approaches him and gets very close to him. He kills it, but doesn't use a gun. At night, Laura says, I have seen people getting sick after getting this close to them. She says, you hesitate to use a gun. She asks, did somebody take your gun, or did you use it on someone? He says, it was an mistake, a thief looting a petrol pump. I fired at his leg, he had turned, and the bullet killed him. She asks, "That's why you started living here?" He says, "No, people had started seeing me as their hero." There's a herd of undeads at the bridge. They move the vehicle and start falling. John hears their noise and gets outside. There are so many now. He kills them while Laura runs to take a weapon and helps him. Many of them fall in the dig and make bridges for others. They surround Laura. She falls into the dig, and they fall over her. John kills them all in just a matter of seconds. Laura thanks him and says, "Whether you consider yourself a hero or not, I see you as a hero." He gives her his antique gun. While he watches TV, she comes with coffee and sits closer. He gets up and tries to leave. She asks, "What's happened?" He tells her that he loves her, but he doesn't want her to know this because she is gonna go, and he wants her to not go and stay here. He says, "If you're alive, this entire universe feels alive." She lovingly kisses him. When he gets up, removes the curtain, she's not here. Long boots are gone, she has gone. Morgan says, she wanted you. He says, "You did right by not waiting and telling her. I was fooled to think I'd get a second chance." Morgan says, "Alicia, Victor, Nick, and Lucy are alive and think only killing and surviving is left. But it's not like that. We are here and a part of this world." He gets up. John spins the revolver and puts it in safety. Undeads are trying to get in through a glass door. A man is gathering supplies and all kinds of useful stuff. As he gets outside to his truck, a man keeps a gun at him and says, "I saw your flag and know who you are. You can take out your gun if you want. I have kept back my gun, try it, but I'll shoot at your hand, and there's no guarantee you'll survive. Answer my question and you will." It's John and Morgan. Morgan says, "Don't be stupid, this man will kill you." He tries and loses a finger. He wants an answer to his question. Alicia asks Elle, "Did you fix these guns?" and asks about their firing rate and range. She stops the truck and says, "I don't lend them." She wants their story and will stay behind the camera and gets back to steering. He has a map. While showing her gun, he asks him about Laura. Morgan saves him and tells him to warn his people to not get to their meeting place. Some people are looking for them to kill. They are going to get to Elle and others now and get inside the truck. Naomi fixes injuries of Alicia and asks, "What did you find there?" They found meat cans and a lot of undeads. Madison tells them only 3 meat cans are left. They are looking on the map for a place to find a lot of supplies. They need to find seeds and fertilizers. As Cole leaves, Victor thanks him for keeping his secret. Madison gets to him and asks, "What's wrong?" She shows him a bottle, and he takes it. They drink together. He asks, "Why did you save me? You took care of me and helped Lucy as well. Waited for me until I got better. Why?" She replies, "Because I know you and like drinking with you." The guard has stopped Naomi as she was trying to escape. She says, "I wasn't going from here," shows them a map and says, "I was going there. It has food and supplies." Victor says, "Why didn't you tell us when we were dying of hunger?" She says, "Because that place is dangerous." Madison decides to go with her and others will stay and prepare land for seeds here. They leave at night. Victor is looking at his pebble. They find a motel and stop there. Headlights stay on. They check rooms and then the office. There are a few undeads. They kill them and observe 2 guns, which means they killed each other for a meat can. Victor has arranged their dinner. They talk about Roosevelt. It was a long journey from Mexico. Naomi asks, "You were from Mexico?" "No, we came from Los Angeles, but it seems decades ago now." Upon Victor's asking, she tells them, "We are going to an abandoned FEMA shelter." She doesn't want to think about that place. Upon Victor's insisting to know, "Why that place? Nobody would want to go there." "When Viv caught me, I was actually leaving the map behind for you guys." Victor asks her to hand over the vehicle's keys. They decide to have some rest before it gets morning. As they get up, she's gone. She's on her way in a car and reaches her destination, takes a backpack, and knocks at the glass door to attract undeads, which are already inside. Madison has a guess on the map about where she went. He tells her that car Cole and he found was his own supplies which gathered for my escape plan. People don't change. They start their vehicle and leave. Naomi gets inside through the back door. There's a child's place and table, shoe and book. Gets to a room which seems an arsenal, opens a case which has a book, weapons, and keys. She tries to sneak out of there in silence, but upon seeing undeads and blood scars near a child's room, she falls and attracts undeads. She runs and gets to the hall. Undeads have surrounded her. She is in shock and doesn't shoot. Instead, she gets up to a higher place while undeads have kept surrounding her. Madison and Victor are here. He has a plan. He picks a wire rope and makes a monkey line for her. He hangs on it upside down. Madison covers their back. She gets to him, All of them leave out of there and lock the door. She wanted to make up for her mistake. She was here with some people. They were good. Her daughter Rose, her father died immediately as the apocalypse happened. A woman Ellen here taught her almost everything for just-in-case situations. One day, Rose woke up with a cough, which converted into pneumonia. I hid her in the pantry behind the food court and went to take antibiotics. It took me the entire 3 days, and when I returned, she was dead. She didn't tell anyone about her sickness to keep her safe. The first night, she changed and other people changed due to her. She blames herself for all of this. She would help them to find a way to live with this guilt. They get outside. Ellen, as an undead, is inside the truck. Madison puts her to rest. Victor says to Naomi, "You did what was right. I did it too. But this time, she told me another thing. We can all start. All of us." Alicia, along with Lucy and Nick, get out of the stadium. They are here to tell him that they are going to grow crops here. Mel tells his people to load up and leave. All of their vehicles leave while they bring their food truck inside. Cole says, "It's more than enough." Victor says, "Madison did it." She checks the parking lot. She tells Alicia to grab some rations, a few medicines, and a couple of rifles. Put them in the Land Rover and park it behind the motor pool. Do it quietly. Alicia asks, "Why?" She says, "Just in case." Now in the present day, Alicia sees just one van coming. It's John and Morgan. All of them ask them to get on their knees and ask, "What are you doing here?" Morgan says they're not coming. We told them not to come. Victor says, "Perhaps they didn't take your warning." All of them are here. Both sides are armed and face to face. Mel thanks Morgan for leading them here. Morgan gets in between. There's a woman on the walkie. Mel laughs. A Land Rover gets to them. It's Laura. John sees her and walks towards her. Alicia, feeling betrayed, shoots her but hits John. In calm stream, rowing, playing, fishing, and dining, John is rememorizing their memories. He still has got her note. Morgan gets to them and helps move John behind the vehicle. Victor says now she is one of them. Today, we kill all of these. Morgan tells her he's his friend. She has to get medics. Mel tells his man to get out of here. They are being killed. Mel starts the ambulance. Naomi asks him to let her take the medical kit. She runs behind it. The van is gone. Alicia has blown it. She says, "We took you in and you took it from us." There's firing all around them. They need to get John out of here. Lucy sees Charlie and aims at her. She says, "I'm sorry." While she kills a vulture and turns, she's gone. Morgan gets to Elle to ask her for help to get John out of there. A good man would die if she stayed behind the camera today. She brings the truck and opens the gun's turret. Alicia gets her gun down. He gets to Charlie and asks her to go with him to stay alive. As they leave, Alicia and others keep firing at the truck. Laura says, "We have to go to the stadium." Elle says, "That place was done. And weren't you dead?" Tell them what they don't know. Lucy and the community are working to put seeds and make the soil perfect for crop growing. They have months of rations. Douglas radios that there's a guest. It's Charlie, and she needs their help. He has very little time. Charlie says, "You're Nick's friend." "Do you know what I did? Then why did you save me?" He replies, "It has to stop somewhere, right?" John is unconscious. Morgan tells her that he was just looking for you the entire time. He never did lose hope. Elle asks what had happened with Alicia, Strand, and Lucy. Charlie says it was my mistake. Their truck gets to the bus where Mel is injured. Upon Nick's asking why she came to them, she tells that Mel and Ennis had a fight. While we were driving, while avoiding an undead on the road, they got into an accident. Madison says we'll take him along. Nick says we don't know about it. It can be a trap. Alicia says, "This vehicle has a key." She kills an undead, and all of them sit inside talking about where they would have gone. Mel is alive. She gets to him and asks for how long was Laura with you. He's badly wounded. She kills him. Mel wakes up and is tied to the bed. He asks about Charlie. He asks them to let him go. He's not safe here. Ennis said, "If this place doesn't self-destruct, he'll destroy it." Ennis has filled trucks with undeads. They check, and it gets confirmed that Mel's telling the truth. Victor says there's tanks everywhere where the undead were kept. As many flags are the same number of tanks. Mel keeps a knife on Laura. She makes him put it away. He says, "Charlie told you are new here. The last place you stayed got destroyed. This place is gonna turn the same as that. Help me. We'll help you. Because I can feel that you think I'm right." Madison removes wooden slates from rooms to make defense walls. Laura says we should go. We made this place for our kids. I thought about leaving too, just in case, but I saw it on her face that I was ruining this world of ours we built. She asks her, "What did he say?" Laura says this place is neither worth more than your kids' lives nor yours. She is in thoughts about what Laura said. She frees Mel. "If you want to go, then go, but Charlie will not go with you." Cole says he's hurt. He might die. Victor sides with Mel as well. They give him a vehicle and ask him to leave without Charlie. She shows him a gun. He is still hurt, though leaves. Guards seal the door. Madison says he had to go anyway. Nick says, "Remember what I had become was terrifying. It was because I was away from you. When I'm around you, you show me the way when I'm lost. Now killing a guy who's scared, you didn't want to see us becoming such ones?" Charlie says, "He'll not make it. He's my friend." Alicia had put a walkie in Mel's vehicle. They radio him. After a few coughs, there's no sound from him. Alicia asks Cole to open the doors for a while. They're going behind him. Victor says your mom had done the same, so they open the doors. They stay on a channel higher than 6 to keep Madison unaware of their mission. Ennis sets out his entire convoy of trucks. Madison is sorry for her house. She says, "The way my kids looked at me made me happier." Laura says whatever is gonna happen will happen soon. "I am prepared for it." They find him. He's in rough shape. Nick asks Alicia to stay quiet and turn off the headlights. Ennis's convoy passes them. There are so many trucks. Alicia alerts Strand about the convoy. They alert everyone. Cole sees a vehicle. Nick responds that they're still half a mile away. This is one of those trucks. They are in suspense about that truck. Alicia stops their vehicle a little far away from the stadium. Now the entire convoy of trucks appears and gets in position. They release the doors of all trucks and unleash an army of undeads. Soon they surround Alicia's vehicle. There's a fire between them and the stadium. Lucy joins Madison to go for Alicia's. Douglas says they need to put out that fire first. Cole opens the door. Alicia radios that it was necessary to get outside to save him. It was the right thing to do. She's witnessing the rising fire. Elle stops the truck as they reach close enough to the stadium. Morgan says, "Hey Elle, I think I know who you are." She starts, "You don't know me because this girl has several layers." She speeds up and they enter the stadium, which is full of smoke and undead all around them. Madison is in a quite worse state. There's glass clinking. Madison passes under it and asks a woman to hands up and do not to turn. She says, "You don't know me and I don't know you, but I have a gun and you know I have power. Give me keys now." As she proceeds, she falls under her trap and a bullet hits her dinner drink. It's Elle. Their truck is in the midst of hundreds of undeads. Bleeding has stopped, but she needs to extract the bullet. They need to bring all necessary things from the infirmary. Charlie keeps shooting. Elle didn't give the right keys. She asks her to give her keys faster. She checks her tapes and asks what these are. Elle asks, "Are you looking for someone?" Now Madison asks her to give keys and tapes as well. Elle tries to take the gun away. When she gets up, tapes are gone. Madison has them in her truck. If they get further closer, undeads will get stuck in the tires, so they stop. They don't have much time and ammunition as well. John asks Morgan to do not go. Laura decides to go with him. Elle kills most of them and clears a path for them. As they get inside, there's a blast, but they're fine. Alicia is here. Madison watches tapes to find Nick and Alicia. They are not in here. As she kills an undead, Elle is here. She gets out. Her tapes are fine. Alicia, Elle, Victor, and Lucy engage in firing at each other. Inside, they proceed while killing undeads. Victor and others want to reach the infirmary. John has gotten worse. Laura asks Elle to keep pressure and don't let it bleed. John asks Charlie to record his last message and advice for her and Morgan. They have got everything. Their truck takes a huge blast, which Lucy fired. As Elle mentions it's a tank inside a tank, the side door is already fallen in front of Alicia. Elle asks her to start talking, otherwise she has got infinite time. She asks what happened to your kids. Someone did wrong to them? They left you? Both of our realities are the same, that we all are stuck in this messed up world. Elle says that she is doing this since before the apocalypse. She was in a small village where there was a warlord. He used to take people's food, water, and other things and used to call himself 𝑡𝑠. One of the villagers talked to me, and in the end, they didn't need any help since now he didn't have an army or guns. Now villagers started taking a stand, and 𝑡𝑠didn't last longer. One day, someone might want to hear your story. Madison says she had promised them to protect them, but she couldn't. Laura is on the radio. Alicia asks Elle to answer them to get outside, or she will kill Charlie. She says, "Affirmative. You can get out." John is up. He turns the walkie on, and they hear their conversation. Victor reports that they're not coming out. Elle fights Alicia. Madison says that she promised that they will find a place to live, which will be different, where they wouldn't have to do anything like what I did to you. She had found such a place. Alicia tries to kill Elle. Charlie radios them they need them. Laura stays, and Morgan leaves. While they are fighting, Noodles packs fall. Alicia asks her where did she find them. She gave them to someone in return for an interview. Madison says what happened doesn't matter. No matter how much older they get, we don't need a camera for this. We don't forget them. Once a broken-winged bird fell at the window. They named it Wilhelmina and kept it in a shoebox. Took care of it for weeks, but it kept getting worse. I was hopeless about it, and one day, while I was passing through the hall, she was chirping. She survived because her kids didn't give up on hope. She doesn't want that kind of virtue of them to die and want to keep this spark alive in this hopeless world. Alicia is calmed now. Alicia gets to Morgan and Laura and wants to shoot her. Morgan comes in between and says, "I'm just helping my friend." Alicia says, "My mom's dead because of you." Laura want to help John. Alicia says, "You'll not be able to, now." She asks Morgan, "Would you give your life for her?" He replies that I tried to go away from everything and everyone. It seemed necessary. Someday, someone said I'll come closer to people again. So I ran away to prove him wrong. I'm in between you and a human I just met. Things can change. If for me, they change for you. I only had moved for your brother, not for you. You still have that inside. She cries. Laura goes for Laura. He takes her gun and takes her along. Elle opens Madison's handcuffs. Elle want to give her kimchi. Madison tells her that we got separated 2 weeks ago. We had found a place near El Paso. Undeads came there. She gives her 2 packages of kimchi and a gun. She leaves, and on her way, she finds them in a motel. They check out the kimchi while mom hugs son. She shows them a baseball stadium. She says, "Someone help me without need." I think it's our turn now. Victor says, "I didn't get it. That's why Madison didn't tell us about you." Elle says, "Maybe because of the situation in which we met." Alicia asks her to stop the truck to tell her about what happens to her mother. John thanks Naomi. She says, "June, upon meeting them, I didn't tell them my real name. I'm telling you." John says, "It's my favorite month." They set a fire camp, and Alicia states the story. She and Nick were in the parking lot with Mel. They couldn't leave them there. Madison asked everyone to stay inside. She said walls are stronger. Everyone didn't believe her. They got scared. When we reached, they opened the door and ran. They couldn't reach the stadium since Mel had taken their truck to save Charlie. Those people her mom had brought were gonna die. June tried to stop them. I went to bring supplies. When I came back, the caravan was overrun and the undead came to me. I kept running until tiring. Alicia says, "You joined them. When we didn't see you in the caravan, we considered you dead." And June considered them dead. Vultures found her. She did what she thought was right. None of them could either get to the stadium or get out of the parking lot. But Madison had a different intention. When I felt what she was going to do, I tried to go back to her. There were so many undead in between, but Victor saved me by stopping me. The entire army of undead went behind her. She did it so that we could get out. She tried tunnels to get out, but it was full as well. So she locked herself in and fought them. She says, "I didn't want to lose this place because I didn't want you to change from who you are. But I know that you'll stay as who you really are." She called their army and gave sacrifice. Fire took everything in its flames. Her fight was not for the stadium, but for people, for us, so that she could live, so that we can live, so that I could live. Elle turns the camera down and names their tape Madison. Victor has made kimchi noodles and distributes it to all. They are now one. A lovely moment of a campfire. It's very windy and stormy. Undeads are flying. Wind is carrying them with. An undead is killed. Man checks its backpack. Another undead killed. Man checks for what it has in pockets. Morgan kills another and finds a walkie, has found the right frequency. He has protein bars, water, and a magnification tool. He has a warrior suit. Elle is being called by Morgan. She answers it. "Hey, how's your leg?" "It's fine. Better than before." "Is John fine?" "Hey, so you remember my first interview?" "You mean first and last interview? You were asking where I came from?" "Yeah, from Settlement. That king and his domestic tiger." "Do you want to tell me more?" No, I will not tell you, but I'll show you because I'm going back there." He gets here to meet. He says Virginia is very far to travel. My friend, maybe he was right that I belong there. If you think so, you should go. He invites them to go with him. They'll not make it there with this state. His leg is hurt as well. He want to return to his cabin and want to rebuild it with June and Charlie. He has decided. He asks when. In the morning. He invites him for fish. He has to meet other people yet. John is happy here. He gets to a mansion, walks inside. They have solar panels installed. An undead is here. It's Victor. He apologizes to him for there might be a hole in the fence. He brings champagne for him. He won't take it. It's an 1861s. He has a vault full of it. He looks for other people. Luciana is listening to sad tracks. He turns it off and gets her attention. "I'm going back to Virginia. Elle will take me there." "A road trip? I do not want to step in again in that van." Victor says, "I have everything of comfort here. Lucy has nothing for her there. Maybe it's nowhere for her. They saw Alicia last week in garden." He gets to the garden. She's not here. There's notes of help. She is attracting and killing undeads. Have to talk to you, Alicia, she says. Not now. He shows and asks, what's this? Oh, somebody else wrote them and is sticking them on undeads. What you're doing is dangerous. But how do you know who wrote these are still alive? He advises her not to get into trouble. She attracts more of them. June changes John's bandage. He'll be able to catch fish again in a week. She asks, was that true about going back to the cabin? He says, yeah, I have intention in thinking about it. There are sounds of splashes. Undeads approach Charlie down the bridge. Elle comes fast and kills it. Victor must be thinking about something. He closes the door. An undead is inside. Behind Lucy's back, Victor is fighting the undead. He turns the music off. He needs to fix that fence now. Elle says, thankfully I came to meet you before going. Laura says, Charlie, try to tell me what's happened to you down there. Think about it. She thanks Elle for saving her. Undeads are coming with the stream. Elle asks them, since how long are they coming? John says, just once. It must be a problem up there. They need to go check there in the east. Elle will accompany Laura to that bridge. They give John a walkie and get set on their way. Alicia says, I know where they are. I was just reading notes. Didn't notice the pin. It's a lumber mill 10 miles away. Who wrote these must be there. He wants to go alone, but she will not let him. The road is blocked with a huge fallen tree. Elle can remove it easily with a cable. There is a box filled with supplies with a note. Take what you need, leave what you don't need. She records it. Elle asks her about her real name. I'm June, she says. You can tell me about June. I know I have some purposes, but it might provide help. Think about it. Both are on their way. He tells her that he came without even saying goodbye, so they don't know what happened to him. Those people are strong like you. Told you about a friend who said I'll find my way back to people. To prove him wrong, I went from there. Now he needs to know that he was right. They kill an undead with the same note. Lucy and Victor fix the fence. She says, what are we doing here? I don't know. What's left, where to be, and what to fight for. It means we both are asking the same questions, but I'm least enjoying it. Kill another undead with a note. They get through the fence. John makes a word game with his crafting skill using cardboards. He wants Charlie to play with him. He made extra Z's if she want to make pizza. He says, you know, there was a time when I used to speak very less. I had done something wrong which I was embarrassed of. I overthought it. Overthinking gives more anxiety, and the world seems dull. Then I found someone. She found me, actually. And when I told her my problems, I became myself again. There's an undead. He goes for it. Charlie packs her bag with books and leaves. Victor cleanses their mansion from undeads. John is here. He says, you have seen me cleaning house. He tells him about Charlie. She is all alone out there. June and Al are miles away. Victor says, why do you think I would find my friend's shooter? He laughs and says, you'll have to drive. I'm drinking since morning. Alicia and Morgan are here and find notes and come to know where they are coming from. They get inside. There's noise of undeads. They have blocked the door of a room. Morgan says, let me help. He leads them out. Alicia drops heavy woods on them, which finishes them. That man is dead since several days ago. Morgan kills him. She says she was out there with Lucy and Victor for a long time and thought that they would save all of them, but she couldn't. He says, your mom was like this before the stadium, but she changed, and you will change too. You sleep in the greenhouse. This man gave you a reason to run away, but Strand and Lucy need you. She says, right, and you can be our support too, then why are you leaving? She leaves after saying it. Al records ducks. June asks her to turn it off. She wants to say something off record. John fell in love with Laura at the cabin. I am not Laura. I'm that woman who got scared and ran away. And not just from John, from everyone. He wants to go again to the cabin, and if it happens, he'll know that I'm not Laura, and when he'll know it. Al says, I don't really give advice, but since we're talking, I want to say, you're with John, and supporting and taking care of him, and you're here. Yesterday's yesterday, and God knows if there'll be a tomorrow. Elle says, I sound like my mom. That's why I don't talk such things. Birds are flying over the bridge, which means they're coming from not here. They have to return back. Victor gets in with John. It's heavy raining and storm. I was a police officer before. And I was a billionaire. Everyone was something before. John says, when he gets better and things get better, June and Charlie will get with him back in the cabin. Morgan says, we need to find a place to hide. Alicia says, I can take care of myself. Lucy turns off her sad music and she gets up to check. It's Charlie. What do you want? What you did before wasn't enough. She runs. Lucy finds out it's her book. She calls her and goes behind her. June radios John that a storm is coming towards him. John says, yeah, it's already here. Signals are out. The truck is slipping. Al stops it and says it can't go against this intense storm. Something hits the truck. It's an undead. Another, and another. It's still windy, but the storm has slowed. It's calm inside the house. A woman standing outside peeks through, opens the door. It's still raining outside. It's 𝗙𝑇𝑐ⲏ, entirely wet. There's a bed and blankets. She shouts if there's anyone home. It's an undead, easy to die. Her mistress is here and maybe another woman, a boy. She puts 4 of them outside. She makes their photo fall and cleans her weapon, takes off her jacket and looks at herself. She uses a towel to dry her face. She takes off all their photos and puts them outside near their bodies, and tries to close the door. It must be the lock, broken. She gets in the basement, which is filled with rainwater. She blocks the main door and blows out a candle. She checks the kitchen. Her eye goes upwards. She gets upstairs, which is clean and nice. She opens a door and gets inside, walks slowly towards the window, moves the curtains. An undead is tied outside. She hears a sound and says, "Whoever is inside, get out. I just wanted to live alone. You should have left me alone." It's a girl. It's Charlie. "Why are you here? Are you following me? You can't come and live here." She fills her bag with all essential supplies and gets to the vehicle. The key doesn't open the door at first. It's stuck. As it opens, she falls and passes out. She is inside and it's still raining outside. She takes her weapon and gets upstairs. She says, "Why did you bring me inside again?" Charlie is inside. "Say something. If you don't want to say anything, listen. My mom died while saving me, Nick, and all of us because you and Mel lied to all of us. Then you shot my brother, and I saw him dying, but I couldn't do anything. He knew he was gonna die, but he was dying painfully. He knew that who he saved took his life, and he must have thought that there was no meaning of his life. You can't live here. I don't want to, but I'll kill you. I want to be like my mom, want to think like her. She has a gun. Want to be like her, want to become like her. Only this thing is keeping her alive. If I kill you, I'll not let you take it away from me. You're a kid, Charlie, but you know what you did? You are even worse than those undeads who are chewing humans." Alicia breaks a chair. There's a sound. Wood for the window has separated. She tries to fix it, but in vain. She checks their dead bodies. Charlie is going through this family's members' photos. It's a group photo, and she keeps it in the middle of them. Alicia says, "Why did you cover them? Did you know these people? Take your coat and come with me." She fixes one and then the next wooden cover. Due to their noise, undeads are here. They get inside and close the door. They'll try when the storm stops and undeads leave. She asks for her coat. Once the fire is lit, they can dry it. Charlie ignores her. She shouts and takes her coat. It has a gun. That same gun, she puts it at her. "I don't want to live with you. Were you here to kill me before I kill you? Do you think I'll melt? Get out of here." Charlie leaves. Something stuck in the chimney falls on the surface. It's a dead bird. She says, "Forgive me, I'm trying." Charlie is still going through those photos. She gets to the window, moves the curtain, and sees that undead stuck in a tree. She opens the window. Alicia hears its sound. She gets near it. That undead catches her, and before it bites her, Alicia saves her and takes her inside. The fire is lit. "It wasn't for me, right? It was for you." Everyone tells thousands of reasons to stay alive, but we both know that there's no reason left. You were gonna do right, but it doesn't mean that I'll let you die. Charlie asks, "Did you save me so that I'll live with this pain of what I did?" "I don't know, but yeah, you'll have to live with it. What did you think? I'll say I saved you because I saw something in you. What you did to my family, I have forgiven you. No, I'll not say it and will not help you. You'll have to live with what you have done as I'm living." Charlie asks, "When will the storm stop?" "How would I know? I'm from California." She asks her to get up and let's eat. She has made something, gets it on plates, and enjoys it, and so does Charlie. It's a calm silence between them. Charlie asks, "Did you live near a beach?" She says, "No." Charlie says, "But you lived in California." Alicia says, "It's a big state. I just live close enough to it." Charlie asks, "How did it look?" Alicia says, "It doesn't matter now." Charlie says, "It matters." She asks, "You never went to the beach, right?" Charlie says, "I was supposed to go with my parents to Galveston, but then everything changed." And Alicia says, "We all lost a lot, Charlie." She says, "Sometimes while reading, I close my eyes to imagine what I read, but I couldn't find a book about Galveston." She says, "Last time at the beach, it was just like everywhere, filled with undeads." She takes the plates and asks her to get to sleep. She falls asleep on the couch. Alicia's eyes open and Charlie isn't on the couch. She looks around for her with a lantern. The stuck undead is still there. She is arranging those photos. Alicia says, "You can't be here." Charlie says, Someone might come looking for them. 𝗙liche says, whoever cares about them would have been dead. 𝗙liche puts on the fire in the chimney. Charlie says, the wind is getting stronger. 𝗙liche says, I know what you're doing. Who's gone is gone. I have been trying to believe it, but it doesn't help to relieve the burden. But these people are gone. These photos can't change reality. Charlie says, why do you care? Window is broken. Undeads fly away. They get to the basement, but it's filled with storm water. As she gets up, she falls back into the water. Upstairs has collapsed. They can't get out through there, but there's another way which is locked with chains from outside. She tries the door, windows. She asks Charlie to get over here to stand tall. They have to wait here. Charlie says, I don't want to die. 𝗙liche says, I know. Charlie says, I don't want to be like them. I saw my own people turning and didn't believe, but they came back, 𝗙liche says. I'm sorry, Charlie says. I try to remember them before they turned. Wish I had a picture of them. She asks if she still has the gun. No, 𝗙liche, I just don't want to be like them, 𝗙liche says. No, I can't do this, Charlie says. I did all that to your mom and brother. We won't make it out of here. Please, just do it to me. We can't turn like them. Not me, 𝗙liche pleads. Looking at 𝗙liche, she keeps the gun at her forehead, remembering all glimpses of Nick, Victor, Madison, and Nick when he was alive, and her mom. She can't do it. She cries. Both cry. Something falls on the door. 𝗙liche gets to it. Both push it, and it opens. They get out of there and see that same undead with a tree stuck in it. She shoots it. This undead had fallen on the door and saved them. The storm has stopped, and 𝗙liche has buried her family. Charlie asks, did you do it for me or yourself? I did it for those people who could come back, 𝗙liche replies. Charlie finds her weapon. 𝗙liche gives it to Charlie to keep it. She picks up their photos and places them in a closed jar near the graves. Charlie says, I can see her in you even if you can't see it. 𝗙liche says, I had left Morgan alone in the storm. I left everyone. Charlie says, I'm good at finding things. 𝗙liche asks her to close her eyes. She will take her to the beach. She didn't tell her, but it's her favorite place. You're in a car with open windows. You feel the soft breeze carrying the scent of salt. Then you hear the waves and see the beach. You put your feet in the water, feeling the sand. At first, the water feels cold. You want to stay longer, looking back at the people behind you. Charlie imagines it. She sees her mom and dad. They have reached their old mansion. She calls out for Victor and Lucy, but things are scattered. Charlie calls to 𝗙liche. A bus has blocked the bridge. 𝗙liche says we don't know if they are alive or not. She tells Charlie that things will only get worse. They won't get better. 𝗙liche takes the weapon from Charlie's hand and kills an incoming undead. Then she turns back and goes. An undead is here. Morgan is looking for 𝗙liche. Storm kills undead for him. He checks the truck, gets up, and peeks inside. Then opens it from behind, checks for undeads, and gets up, closing its door. Lights up a lantern and finds the same box of take what you need. Puts on a shawl and takes protein bars. Enjoys them with water. He wakes up to the sound of an undead, takes his wood, opens the door, and kills. Storm is gone, and it's so lovely outside. He's in Mississippi. Gets into a store and checks for people or undeads. Coffee machine is still on. He turns on the entire lights. There's a radio sound. A woman asks for Polar Bear. He answers. She asks his name. He tells her that he reached here on a truck. She asks the location. It's too far. She says, feel it as your home, take what you need, leave what you don't, and cuts off. He takes protein bars, water, and a walkie and finds Virginia on the map. Finds coffee and takes a sip here. Gets to the bathroom, sees himself, and turns on the water. He finds a magazine. Someone is outside. Morgan says he liked it as an apartment. He asks if someone said, take what you need. He says, who you talked to on the radio? Stevie forgets to tell that she talked to a visitor. She is his twin sister. They know all roads and transport stuff as before the apocalypse. Sarah asks 𝗙𝗪 to put down the gun. They have solar panels, water pumps, and satellite TV. Morgan asks if they have more places like this. He tells them that he's going to the east in Virginia. They tell him that they saved him from a hurricane and have brought him 400 miles to Virginia. They tried 6 different routes to get from Beaumont to Lafayette. Morgan says his people are there. 𝗙𝗪 says, they were. My pet dog Bentley died. Morgan says, I can't convince you to take me there. 𝗙𝗪 says, we're nothing without the truck, and it will not make it there. He tells him that there's a bridge just north of where CCT Highway used to be. You can use it. On his way, he kills an undead and goes deeper into the forest, where an undead is stuck in mud and sees a take what you leave box. He keeps going on the road. While he reaches the bridge, he can't step forward, remembering what Sarah and 𝗙𝗪 said, and runs back. He stops and thinks and radios to ask them which road is clear. The bridge is gone. I'm thinking if you can take me there where I want to go, they ask. Then what about your friends? He says, "The bridge is gone." Sarah runs over an undead on the road. Sarah tells Morgan to meet them at the next stop, 911 64 miles away. "This is the last station in this area, and I'm sorry that you can't help them." He gets to a point where the next sign is fallen. He sees a man running from undeads. He gets out of the car to help him. His face is covered. Morgan kills all the undead, gets him up, and removes his cover. He uncuffs him and tells him that he has water and food. The man tells him that those who kidnapped him locked him in his own warehouse because they wanted a beer recipe from him. He tells him he has a brewery named 𝗙𝗵₍, and he makes beer. He says, "Do you know what I have? My future. Even the Ice Age couldn't erase us. What we lost will rebuild. It'll happen, so I make beer." Morgan says, "Where I'm going, trying to build in Virginia." He invites him to come along if he would like to. They reach the truck, get out, and they are behind them as they tell them on the radio. Jim runs. 𝗙𝗪 shows him the gun, and Sarah says thanks. Morgan asks, "Whose truck is this?" Sarah says, "We left him somewhere in Texas at some 1-mile sign where he was putting signs. He puts up those signs which end at 4. Morgan says, "You can help people with these boxes." Sarah asks, "Where is that place of yours?" They call him Jimbo. They have maps and journeys, and they are curious to go there. They set their truck towards Virginia. Jimbo checks the stuff and says, "I can make beer on a small scale. This woman came to my brewery and pretended to be my big fan. I can make it now." He says, "These are greedy. When they see profit, they will switch sides. When this world was all right, I made a deal to sell my brewery to a multinational company to become rich. But just a few days later, these undeads arose and messed up my plans. Now I want to take it all back. Beer has made history. We are back in that era where people need beer." The truck hits a broken road. Sarah opens the back and orders them to unload some weight. They unload. Jimbo says, "I'll not give you my recipe, but if that place Morgan told us about exists, I'll make beer for you." Sarah uncuffs him. There are undead down the slope behind the bushes. As Jimbo runs to take his chiller, he falls and pushes Morgan down among the undead. He runs and gets up to a vehicle. Sarah says, "Jimbo, you killed him." They want to know where that place exists. John tells them halfway. She wants him to tell the entire way. He tells them. Now he asks them to help him. Jimbo says he doesn't do such things, and 𝗙𝗪 and Sarah say the same. Sarah says, "We know that the bridge is not broken." Jimbo leaves with them, leaving Morgan alone. Darkness falls. Morgan turns the walkie on and says, "You don't need to do this. You can come back. Now listen to me. I could have gone to the bridge, but here I got a little time to think about it. I'm a coward. I thought I had helped them, but it wasn't enough. I couldn't give them what they needed, so I got scared. Don't come back for me because I'm a coward." He tries to make his way, but it's risky. He jumps over them to a steep place, tries to stop slipping, and sees a sign and a knife. He picks it up, kills an undead, and picks up the signboard for his martial art. He says, "Those boxes aren't helping anyone and are rotting on roads. You were wrong." He keeps going until he finds their truck on the bridge. He told them the wrong path. They went ahead 200 miles to catch his lie. 𝗙𝗪 says, "Do you really think going back to Texas will help anyone?" Morgan says, "Just like that man placed these boxes without knowing if it'll help, I'll do the same." Sarah wants to pick up some people behind. Morgan says they will take him to Virginia and will stop at some spots on the way. They get going, placing boxes at signboards. 𝗙𝗪 places one. Jimbo puts one along with his beer bottle. Morgan is looking for that woman on the radio he heard back in Mississippi, and she has heard him. She liked blackjack, liquorice. June watches John's recording, which shows his belief for her. Keeps it, gets out a truck, and tries to get signal. She says on radio, "I saw those tapes. You had belief. If I would have been that right now, I might not be able to answer with that surety. I run when difficulties come. Always." "How did you know? How did you keep believing?" Al asks her to save this non-rechargeable walkie's battery. They spend their days by keeping themselves hydrated, staying outside, and she keeps watching that tape several times. Finally, they run out of water. They can't go much far to return before evening. There's an unrecognizable voice on walkie. Sarah has an undead in front of her truck, stops it and kills it. Sarah says, "I got 1 point. 𝗙𝗪 gives her 1. She removes the undead. Morgan is finding for people to help them and is telling his location. June and Al decide to go to a higher place to catch a signal. June has emptied the camera's battery. Al is burning. Al says it must be blood sugar. Jimbo says that this way we'll never reach Virginia, and contrary, someone would kill us. He leaves that channel open if anyone listens. Morgan says it'll work. He announces that he's at Highway 365, mile 27 towards west. Al is feeling dizzy. She is on an empty stomach after a longer time. They find a truck, kill an undead, and ride it. June apologizes to Al for emptying her battery. Al says she understands. June asks her if she had someone. Al says when you spend so much time collecting other stories, you forget your own. Martha catches June's signal. Sarah calls Morgan Momo. Morgan hears June. He tells them that he's going for a long walk to catch a signal. He walks and tries to communicate. Al's van is coming. She drives faster to catch whoever has stolen it. She is going very fast and barely survives an accident. Al says she has medicines in her truck. They need to take it back. Morgan finds a woman taking something from the Take What You Need box. It's Martha. She says, I'm not weak. Morgan has to go further. She says, you're right about things being too tough. You stay vigilant. Martha puts something in bottled water. June fixes the tire. She asks Al about the van. Where did she find it? They hear the loud noise of her guns being fired. Al asks her to go for it. She convinces her. June gives her the walkie and asks her to keep it in range and leaves. June gets there and proceeds through grass and takes cover of a bus. No one is in the truck and there are many killed undeads. Someone puts a gun at her and asks her to drop hers. He says hands behind the head and to go. She says he doesn't need to live like this and invites her to go with her. He says we do everything for those who we love. She tries to take the gun and Al hears the sound of fire. She struggles to take the gun and takes it. She gets inside and starts, but it's out of diesel. She asks him about medicines, but he doesn't know about them. He says sometimes you can't help. She asks him to leave since he didn't believe her when she tried to make him understand. She looks everywhere and asks Al. She is not able to get to the walkie. She is feeling dizzy. An undead attacks and she is not able to use the knife, so she pushes it under the vehicle and makes it fall on it. She says they are not there. She just wanted her van back. She found augmentin in the bus, which cures her. June says I was about to kill someone for those medicines which weren't there. You lied to me. She asks why this van is so important. She says those tapes, you saw how one of them helped Wₐ𝑡𝑐ⲏ. Those tapes have her story of those people whom she loved very much. Morgan gets up to a tower and tries. Al hears him. He tells them about the location of Highway 365 at mile 27. They can hear him, but he can't hear them. The battery is dead. They are 50 miles away. As she gets inside, Al is not going with her. She tries to make her understand. She goes and she starts the vehicle. As she drives, Al fires in the air, gets back, and they get going. 𝗙ₐ🗏 says to Morgan that those people aren't gonna come. They start the truck and are about to go. Sarah sees someone coming in the rear mirror. They are here. She tells them that the walkie had died. She asks John and others. Morgan introduces them to Al and June, and them to Sarah and others. They give them water and food. Al takes the walkie from Morgan and says on the radio that you're the last with whom I did that. I just wanted to tell you that you were wrong and I'm sorry to make you run away. I'm at mile marker 27 at 365 with a group, and we have water, food, and all necessary supplies. He replies. He has found some diesel. She invites him to go with them. He tells his name Quinn and June tells her name. Al says a while ago I'd gotten sick. Morgan says if you want, you can still go with me. She is ready to go, but not for longer. She asks about the owner of this truck. Quinn is here, but they're not here. She checks the mile marker, which is changed. An undead kills him. It's Martha. She sets Purvis free, closes the door, and writes on Quinn's face. He has turned. They get to mile marker 21 to find Quinn. June tries to call him on the radio. Morgan says he might get to our truck. Sarah asks when they find him. Let them know. Jimbo says this list is going up. He says I hope you'll learn to make at least good beer in a year. An undead is here. Jim wants 𝗙ₐ🗏's gun. He looks at the undead in the rear mirror. As it approaches, he sticks it and Sarah kills it. It's Purvis, someone insane. An animal did it. Jimbo says we should get going from this place now. There's an undead on the radio. It's Quinn and Martha. She says now he's not weak. Morgan recognizes her and asks if it was you on the roadside with the box, right? He has watched their tapes. She wants them to stop helping people with boxes and she will stop doing it. She says you still are strong inside, give it up. A bird squawks. Victor is up, takes a protein bar and a book from the closet. Gets outside and checks the flood pond with binoculars. John is cutting trees and trying to bind them together into a floatable slate. Undeads are here due to birds squawking. John didn't see seagulls flying alone before. Victor says it's very dangerous. John says it has a capacity of 2 people and the water is flowing too slow. Victor says I had a paradise. A fool got me into a fool's work, and fools are dying daily, and he's not doing more foolishness now. John says as soon as I find Charlie and June, I'll come for you. Victor wishes him to reach the other side. Lucy is still looking for Charlie. She finds a car, kills an undead, and a man is wounded and is stuck since the storm. His name is Clayton. He says, "You seem yourself messed up. Why will you help a stranger?" John is ready to go while Victor watches. As he steps on it, it sinks. Victor sees something. John shoots it. It's a crocodile. Morgan buries Purvis. Al finds more polar bears' journals. Morgan says she's killing people while wandering, so they need to find Charlie, Alicia, Lucy, and Polar Bear if he is alive. Jim asks, "She said that you don't know what you can do. What did she mean?" Morgan says, "I did some things which I want to make up for." Al can drive this 80,000-pound truck at 80 miles per hour. As Sarah tries, the knife is already down, so they're with them now. The crocodile eats the undead. Victor says, "Do you think we'll find June?" He shows him a toffee he gave her. John says it is important to believe. It changes things. Victor says, "If there's a difference between undeads and us, it's some days rations." John sees a growling undead stuck in a vehicle. Lucy tries to get Clayton out. She stops him and says, "Thank you, dear kid, but you can't help." She asks if there's someone you want. "I can look for him." He says all are dead except one whom I don't want to see. He laughs and says, "Wish I have a last beer." Lucy gives him a walkie and sets out to find beer. John wants Victor to make noise for undeads and to take the camper shell from that vehicle. Sarah's are there where they stole this truck from. She says it is his carelessness. He left the keys in the truck. Jimbo says we shouldn't leave these boxes here after Martha threatened us. Morgan writes on the box that if you need help, VHF Channel 4. June says if John would be able to read it. Victor gets to the vehicle. He needs to open latches. Strand tries to take a beer bottle and the vehicle falls down all the way into the water. He is fine with his bottle. John says, "You risked your life for a bottle." Victor says, "But I'm still alive," and says luck for his raft. He takes parts out of the vehicle to make his raft. Lucy gets to an empty truck. She gets to a garage, but the fridge doesn't have beer. John makes his raft using his ways, and one is ready. She finds a few beer bottles, but seems empty. John asks if he always drinks a lot like this. He says now he drinks to forget, and he now only has past memories. John says we'll drink together on that side. The truck battery is still working, enlightened to distract undeads. Victor needs to believe. He asks him to stop the horn. Clayton says don't be disheartened. Very few people now try. He tells her a story that when he wanted to be alone, and he took a job which brought him away from all his people. When the world turned, all my people went, and I realized I made it the biggest mistake of my life. I couldn't help my people, so I found a way to help others who were alive. John and Victor turn the horn on, get the raft in the water, and get going. Lucy finds Morgan's box and it has a beer. Undeads are coming due to the horn, but it turns off and undeads start going back. The crocodile hits their raft and it's broken. John says we'll make it to the other side, while Victor says it'll not work. Now shoot them and we go back. The crocodile gets to the undeads and Victor jumps and so does John. Lucy is coming. He says you don't give up at all. She opens the zip and gives him his beer. He drinks this cold one and thanks her. He says, "I have left some notebooks with my supplies. Take them." She asks him the reason for running away. He says, "I used to drive a truck." Lucy thanks on the radio that whoever left that box, it really helped. Morgan replies. Both are sitting wet on the edge. Victor gets back to his cabin with his beer while John eats that toffee. They are going fast on the truck. Lucy shows Clayton's notebooks to Morgan. Charlie radios and there is Morgan. She is at mile marker 84. Martha interferes in between and says helping others makes us strong, so we'll keep looking for needy people and we'll help them. Sarah asks Al about the van. It's coming at them with full speed. Soon it matches them, and they all get down while Martha fires at their truck.